Is America truly a deeply misogynistic country? This was a comment made by Andrew Yang at a debate a couple days ago. Hello, it's Blue Orange 22. I'm actually back in Miami for Christmas, all about the U. I put a couple links down to this article in the description below. A couple days ago in a debate, candidate Andrew Yang made a few comments about gender in the United States. And one of the comments that he made was that America is a deeply misogynistic country. Now, I would say if you look at some of the statistics and you look at the day-to-day reality for the average man and average woman, I'm not sure if this really holds up. And this is one of the things that MRAs try and make a point of. If you compare the average life of the average American man and the average American woman, do we really live in a deeply misogynistic country where men are significantly privileged or advantaged and women are significantly disadvantaged? I would say no, as would most MRAs. And in this channel, in some of my past videos and in some of my future videos, I kind of break down a few examples and a few statistics and a few laws explaining why I think so. But I'm just going to give a quick answer to that statement now and just give kind of a few thoughts on it. If America really was a country that was deeply misogynistic, the implication would be that men are significantly privileged and significantly advantaged. But is that really what we see when we look at the statistics, when we look at the life of the average man and the average woman? Starting with the education system, boys are significantly disadvantaged. Boys get lower grades in all subjects and all ages. And there are studies that show that boys are actually discriminated against when it comes to grading. And boys actually get lower grades for the same work that girls do. Boys are less likely to graduate high school and thus less likely to earn a university degree. And today, women are more likely than men to earn degrees at every single level of the university system: bachelor's, master's, and doctorates. Entering the workforce, men are less likely to be hired. And today, young men entering the workforce actually earn less than young women. And young men, and men of all ages, have a higher rate of unemployment. So men are less likely to be employed. And men are more likely to be homeless. And men are more likely to be in prison. And of course, men die younger. But men get less healthcare research on a per dollar and a per death basis. There are more low-income healthcare programs for women, and there are more social programs available for women when it comes to finding a homeless shelter, finding a job, finding a college scholarship. If you really break down the average life of the American man and the average life of the American woman, you have to ask yourself, in what society is the privileged gender less likely to go to college? In what society is the privileged gender more likely to be unemployed? In what society is the privileged gender more likely to be homeless? In what society is the privileged gender more likely to be in prison? In what society is the privileged gender punished more severely in the court system for the same crime? Because if you look at the systems as they work for men and as they work for women, the systems do not work as well for men. And there are more government programs for low-income healthcare programs, or for small business loans, or getting a college scholarship for women than there are for men. So from a very early age, boys are disadvantaged in the education system. I'm going to do more videos about all this stuff in the future, and I've done some more videos about this in the past, so I'm not going to break down every single one of the things I've talked about in this video, but I'm just going to take a look at one specifically that I've linked down in the description below. Let's take the education system, for example. Let's take the very first thing that starts to influence someone's life from an early age. Boys get lower grades in all subjects and all ages. And studies have shown that boys are actually discriminated against in the school system. They get lower grades for the same work as a girl does. So a boy and a girl, they do the same work, let's say on the same test or the same essay. The boy will get a lower grade than the girl. Boys are less likely to go to college as a result of this, and yet there are more scholarships available to girls. So the group that's more likely to go to college has an even extra advantage in the fact of having more scholarships. And when you get to the workforce, the male unemployment rate is higher than the female unemployment rate, and yet companies have all kinds of policies, diversity hiring policies, where they hire women over an equally qualified man. Now, I understand the logic of that if you're trying to make things equal. That makes sense. But the thing is, men are the gender that are already behind. So you're giving an advantage to the group that's already more likely to be employed. So this is kind of summing up the major issues of the men's rights movement in one, 7-minute video, which kind of isn't really possible. But I just kind of wanted to give a quick reflection on that. Do we really live in a deeply misogynistic country if women seem to be ahead of men in most statistics, in education, in employment, in healthcare, in social services, in incarceration rates? You wouldn't really see that happen if we lived in a deeply misogynistic country. And if men were the privileged gender, you wouldn't really see men being less likely to go to college, more likely to be unemployed, more likely to be homeless, and more likely to be in prison.